Hello and welcome into another edition of the Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast. My name is Kevin Hicks, and I'm your lead beat writer for the Arizona State Sun Devils on SI and your host of this daily Sun Devils Insider Podcast. And I'm so grateful to be joining you once again on this Wednesday afternoon. And we are roughly 15 hours beyond Arizona State. Um, Officially losing their second consecutive game as part of the um, two-game Texas road trip, a 90-78 loss to the TCU Horned Frogs. Uh, Seems as if all the magic that Arizona State curated with the two wins at home on February 10th and February 17th against Oklahoma State and Texas Tech has evaporated. It seems as if that was all the run this team had in them. And we've discussed this at length for quite some time that this team is definitely talented and they play hard. There's no denying that. There's no doubt in that. The unfortunate truth of how this season has progressed, however, is that this team is confined by a general lack of depth, especially in the midst of Big 12 play, where so many teams run at least two players deeper than ASU does. Uh, Bryce Ford did make his return in Tuesday night's game. Unfortunately, it was just in limited minutes. There was a minutes restriction placed on him. And although there were nine available players, that is far, far, far short of what Bobby Hurley anticipated uh, if as far as players at his disposal on a regular basis. Um, Heading into the season. And unfortunately, two of the big injuries happened before the season even started. We all know what happened with VJ Wallace and the brutal leg injury he suffered. But beyond that, the um it's just been a whirlwind of a season. Uh Wallace and Holloman, obviously, massive losses. They are both proven players at different levels at the college basketball level. And Marcus Adams Jr. has not played in nearly 2 months at this point, and the way things are trending right now, it doesn't seem as if he will be back this season. And that's another unfortunate development this season. Adams came into the year potentially being considered a difference maker, possibly the team's best or second best player. And he's just battled with injuries since September, and just unfortunate all every way that you can imagine. Bryce Ford has obviously dealt with injuries. Santiago Truitt has sprained both his ankles this season. Alan Mukeba had shin surgery over the summer. Masamba Job didn't even join the team until September, I think. Just too many roadblocks in front of the team this season. They had a chance to beat both Baylor and TCU, come out short on both, and now you sit at 14 and 14, barring a last second surge up the Big 12 standings, which would probably mean that they have to win both games against Kansas and Iowa State to close out the regular season. Um, Barring that and a win against Utah to move to 17 wins in the regular season, they probably will not be representing the Big 12 in the NCAA tournament for the third consecutive season. I mean, the Big 12, Pac-12, whatever. Um, Even then, they might have to win a game or two in the Big 12 tournament to even get that consideration, which means they pretty much have to win out. And I've said that the likelihood of that happening is probably 2%, maybe even lower. Just doesn't seem like it's happening. And the potential fallout from this is that there's a solid chance that Bobby Hurley is not the head coach of Arizona State basketball beyond the middle of May or whenever, middle of March or whenever Arizona State's season officially comes to a close. Now, his contract doesn't expire until the end of June, but I have to look more into it, but I believe that Arizona State can part ways with him before the contract expires and they can hire a new head coach. This is not the outcome that, I mean, I can't say anything until it's definitively done. I think everybody knows that this is the result where this is the result of where things are heading, and it's not the outcome that I wanted. I don't think it's the outcome that Arizona State fans wanted. Um, I feel like the energy, the passion, and just the overall love of Arizona State from Bobby Hurley is something that hasn't been seen from a coach of the basketball program in probably 30 years. And it's just unfortunate the way that the tides have turned over the last few seasons. I really am one of those firm believers that the COVID pandemic is really what stunted Arizona State's growth, along with the refusal to double down on NIL in the early stages of the changing landscape of college athletics. Now that Graham Rossini is on board, there's much higher propensity for Arizona State to be invested resource wise, but we'll have to see what happens in the weeks ahead. Um, Before we close out today's show, I did want to discuss some potential candidates if this is in fact the end for Bobby Hurley in Tempe. Um, some interesting names have been brought up over the last couple of days, certainly. At the surface of things, Travis Steele of Miami, Ohio, Jared Calhoun of Utah State, and Josh Schertz of St. Louis are probably going to be the three hottest names on the market in this year's coaching carousel. Syracuse, Providence, Cincinnati, there's some pretty solid jobs that are expected to open alongside Arizona State, so they're probably going to be competing with these guys. And if you were to ask me, I would probably be a proponent of Josh Schertz or Jared Calhoun if I had to make a choice out of the guys that are going to absolutely be at the top of people's um, lists. And um, let's talk about the names that could potentially become wild cards in the race for a new coach. So Tuesday afternoon, speculation uh, kind of reignited as far as current Creighton coach Greg McDermott and his ties with the Arizona State job. Those came about at some point last year during Arizona State's 13 and 20 season. McDermott is already committed to retiring from the Creighton role after next season. There's already a coach in waiting, and Jeff Goodman kind of threw gasoline on the whole situation by saying that it's unclear what he will do, whether he'll stick it out with Creighton for another year, whether he'll retire right now, or whether he will leave for Arizona State. And that's an intriguing option right there, even though he's a little older for a head coach. His track record speaks for itself. He might have more resources at Arizona State than he does at Creighton currently. I'm not 100% sure, but that could be a good match, and so could Randy Bennett. Who Jeff Borzello of ESPN suggested on Wednesday. He's a native of Arizona. He obviously knows a lot about the Valley, and he has long been considered a coach that would do a great job if he made that transition from a mid-major level to the power conference level. And I don't have any doubt about that whatsoever, personally. I think that Randy Bennett with Power Five resources, with the renovated Desert Financial Arena, and with more fan support, would do a phenomenal job. And he could just continue doing what Bobby Hurley's doing right now and bringing in international players that really are being overlooked. That's something that he's been exceptional at over the last 20 years or so at St. Mary's. Players like Matthew Dellavedova have thrived in his system. He could be something like a Tommy Lloyd is for Arizona. And that is all I really have for today. Thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of the Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast. Thank you all for your support each and every single day, and I will see you with another episode tomorrow. Thank you so much.